And hello there. We'd like to welcome you into the Philly and Fred show for February 22nd, 2026 on a Sunday. We're going to talk about the NFL and the NBA today, but when it comes to in regards to the NFL, we're going to talk about the wide receiver Mount Rushmore and give our top 5 edge rushers for next year. On the NBA side, we're going to rank this upcoming draft class. We're going to ask if Flag would be number 1 in this draft class, and we're going to address the tanking problem. But we're going to go back to the NFL part. First, we're going to give our wide receiver Mount Rushmore for the NFL. I'll go first. My first head on the Mount receiver Mount Rushmore is Jerry Rice. I mean, 22,895 yards. I think 500 past the next closest guy. He's got 197 touchdown catches. He played 20 seasons consistently, not getting injured that much, and was great for almost all 20 seasons. 10 AP first teams, unbelievable. Next head, Randy Moss, 15,292 yards, 156 touchdowns, 4 AP first teams, and he had one of the best seasons of all time with 23 touchdown catches. Next head, Calvin Johnson, 1,463, 17 game average, 16 yards per catch, and 6 touchdowns for 17 games. So, I mean, that shows you right there. He maybe didn't have the longevity, but when he was healthy, no one was better. And last head, Terrell Owens, 15,934, 153 touchdowns, 5 AP first teams. And I'll say it was ridiculous he was not a first ballot Hall of Famer. But that's my list. What's your list, Philly?
Yeah, my Mount Rushmore is also going to start off with Jerry Rice. He was all-time leader in receptions and receiving yards and touchdowns. I'm sorry, and then he also had 11-year stretch where he had 1,000 straight receiving yard seasons. So this guy was a beast for, like you said, 20 plus years straight. Second, I'll go Randy Moss, one of the best deep ball threats we've ever seen in the game. He had a 6-year stretch where he had 1,300 receiving yards or more. So he'll be the second head on my list. Third, going to be Calvin Johnson, finished with over 11,000 receiving yards, had 83 touchdowns in only 9 years. Had he played longer, he'd probably be top 5 in all receiver stats. And then fourth, I'm also going to go T.O., third all time in receiving yards and touchdowns. He had 1,000 yards, 9 of 11 years, 9 years in an 11-year span. So T.O. is going to finish my list off.
All righty. Great list. Bunch of great receivers we just listed right there. On to the next subject at hand. We're going to give our top 5 edge rushers going from 5 to 1. My fifth best edge rusher, I think, is Max Crosby. And I really think he should be higher on this list, but he was a little injured this year. Tough year. The Raiders suck. But, I mean, before this year, he's been dominant. So I'll put him 5. 4, Will Anderson. I mean, second in pressures this year in the whole NFL with 93, 12 sacks. And he had 3.5 sacks in 2 playoff games, dominated against the Patriots, but their offense gave it away. Next, Aiden Hutchinson led the league in pressures with 100 and had 14.5 sacks off basically breaking his leg, not basically breaking his leg. 2, Micah Parsons. I mean, 12.5 sacks in 14 games and was still fourth in pressures, even though he only played 14 games. And we've seen what happened to them, that they absolutely fell apart when he got hurt. And number 1 on my list, I mean, pretty simple. Myles Garrett broke the sack record. Not much else to say. Guy's a beast. Guy's a game wrecker. So that's my list. What's yours, Philip?
Yeah, 5. I'm going to start off with Aiden Hutchinson. He's a freak athlete. He's up there in pressures every single year. Has 5 interceptions in his 3.5 seasons. And then in 2024, he had 7.5 sacks in only 5 games. I think he would have been on pace to possibly beating that record that Myles Garrett broke this year. 4, gonna go Max Crosby, crazy motor. He has the most pressures in the NFL since 2019. I want to see him on a better roster next season. 3, go Michael Parsons, elite speed, king of the double team. He's been top 10 in sacks every year in the NFL outside of his rookie season. Second, I'll go TJ Watt. He has 36 forced fumbles in his entire career, and he's just dominant when he steps on the field. And then 1, I'll go Myles Garrett. We saw him break the sack sack record this past season. he has been a top-rated pass rusher according to PFF the last 3 seasons. So I think Myles Garrett deserves to be at the top of that list.
All righty. Once again, great list by both of us, I think. Even though we'll post this and people will call us idiots and say, "How'd you miss this guy?" But we don't really care when you do
Yeah.
that. So on to the NBA portion of the show. We're going to start out with a question here. And that question is, would Cooper Flagg still be number one in this upcoming class? And I'd say yes, because when you look at like the Caleb Wilsons, the Bonstas, and Nate Aments, the people that are similar build to him, he's a better passer than them. He's a better scorer than them. He's a better defender than them. And he's just as athletic and big and long as all those guys. The only guy that I think you could give a chance to be number one over him is Peterson, because he's a guard that can score better than Flat. Like one of the best scoring guards I've seen come out of college in a long time. And I mean, he's absolutely dominant. But I mean, what's going on? Does he have a lingering leg injury? Does he maybe not as bought in? Does he not love basketball? Which I think that's ridiculous. I think he does. I think he's just taking it. He's just taking his time with his injury because he knows he's going to get paid and he knows he's going to be the number one pick. But yeah, if I still had a draft pick, if I was drafting first, still give me Cooper Flag. Would you still draft Cooper Flag number one this upcoming year, Philly?
Yeah, this is tough for me. I'm gonna go no though, just because I don't think it would be a guaranteed that he would be number one pick in this class with just all the talent that we have. But I do agree. I think I'm gonna say two people that would contend with him to be the number one pick this year will be obviously Peterson and AJ DeBonsta, who both can score at will. And I know what we've seen Flag do his this rookie season, but I think AJ and Peterson can kind of replicate that same success to the NBA game. So it's close for me. Flag maybe the better all around player, but as far as their game translating to the NBA, I think AJ and Peterson can be just as good, if not better.
All righty, fair enough. Before we get to ranking this year's draft class, I do have a comment. I watched the Pistons Knicks game on, I think that was Friday.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about switching my
heard
pick to
that.
the Pistons because, oh my goodness. Cade Cunningham, I really had to watch him this year because the Pistons are on not a whole lot. And I sat down and watched that whole game. I mean, Peterson, he is, or not Peterson, but Cunningham is unbelievable. He scored 40 in every way. He had the mid range, he had the off the dribble, he had the spot up three. I mean, he was finishing at the rim. He was physical. He's big. He's strong. And not only that, I think the most impressive part of his game is how much he's grown as a facilitator, because he had 10 plus assists, or I think he had 10 plus assists. He 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 orchestrated the offense so good. I mean, I watched that game and I was thoroughly impressed. And I know his numbers might not mean he like make him top five, but watching him, I don't know if I've seen five better NBA players this year than Cade Cunningham. And a guy like that leading that team in that East, I'm not going to switch my pick yet because I just made the pick a couple days ago. But when I watched that game, I thought about how good Cade looks in the Pistons. But man, they look good. Did you watch that
I,
game against the
I
Knicks?
yeah, I agree with you because yeah, I had it's crazy on my other pod. We predicted all 10 NBA games coming outside of the break, and we got 8 of 10 right, and that was one of the ones we got wrong. We ended up going with Knicks money line on that, even though we thought Pistons could cover. But yeah, I watched most of that game too, and Cade definitely he needs to be talked about in the MVP race because if you look at the Pistons roster, it's really not a great roster. And then the fact that you was without Jalen Duren and you're without Isaiah Stewart right now as well. They've actually been without Duren all 3 games versus the Knicks, yet they've blown them out by 15 or more points in all 3 of those games. So that just goes to show you how good Cade has been playing. One of 3 people who averaged 25 points and 8 or more assists on the season. And Pistons have been very consistent the whole entire year. They they now hold the best record, and yeah, Pistons are definitely becoming scary. It's still hard for me to picture them in a conference finals or finals, but they may just prove me wrong.
But see, like you said with the roster, you know what it felt like watching that, and I'm not saying they're as good, but it almost felt like the Thunder. Like you got the leader, you got the main guy, you got your MVP candidate, and you look at the
Yeah,
rest of the roster and you go, oh, well, they don't have no big name guys. They're not like that roster's not fantastic. But the thing watching that game, everyone plays their role. Like no one does
mm-hmm.
more than their role. Like they got the guy, like they had a couple backups in there, big guys that were just getting offensive rebounds and playing defense. They never tried to shoot or do anything special.
Yeah,
The backup point guard came in. I mean, he played well. Everyone, that's what was impressed me. Thompson is a defender. I mean, and he's getting better with his offensive game. Just watching them, I was like, man, they all do their job. They know their role, and they got a stud leading them. So that's, yeah, I
yeah,
was impressed by that. And on the other side, all right, I know you can shoot the three. Can we get Carl Towns inside, please? I mean, he's way too good of a driver and a post guy to be shooting that many threes. And I know it's the new NBA. I don't care, bro. He should be so dominant inside. And I don't have a problem with the 7-footer shooting threes, but because I always said this when AD played, when AD was with the Lakers, when he was a stud, and the Lakers would struggle, and he would struggle sometimes. As a big guy, I don't care if you shoot threes, but I think you should always start the game inside the arc. Always start on the block, maybe shoot a couple mid ranges, try to get to the free throw line, then
mm-hmm.
wander outside when you got it going. But these big guys I mean, Towns, he's shooting 30-foot threes. It's like you drive or just get him the ball on the block. Like they could
Yeah.
not, he had backup big guys guarding him, and he was bailing them out shooting threes. But I watched it, and it was driving me crazy. And as a Kentucky fan, I love Towns, but I don't know if it's the offense. I don't know if it's his mindset, what they're telling him, but he's got to get his big behind in the paint. But what were your thoughts on the Knicks game plan and kind of what happened with them?
Yeah, the Knicks have been streaky. I don't like what I've seen from them. You saw on a lot of plays, obviously, what they had on the floor was better than what the Pistons were displaying on paper, but the Pistons just outplayed them. I mean, they wasn't getting defensive rebounds. Like you said, jacking up a lot of threes. And this is Towns. This is, I think, his second worst season statistically, I think, since his rookie season. So I don't know what's happening with Towns this year. He's drawing or not drawing a lot of fouls, but he's committing a lot of fouls, fouling at a high rate. I've saw him foul out a lot of games this year, and he's just not there offensively this season. So yeah, the Knicks they just got to find a way. If they play their ball and play hard every game, the Knicks are undoubtedly one of the top 3 4 teams in the whole entire league. But at times they just play like other teams play like they wanted more. We saw them right before the All-Star break drop a game to the Pacers where they was 14-point favorites. So yeah, it's a lot of questions about the Knicks right now.
Yeah, and my honest opinion on that is if the Knicks don't win the title this year, they got to blow it up because Jason Tatum's not going to be fully healthy even if he comes back and plays. He missed almost the whole year if he does play. The Pistons, they're young, so get them now because Cade's going to get more experience and the whole team's going to get more experience. Cleveland just got James Harden. Halliburton's coming back, and I think they're going to try to get better for when he comes back. So I think if they don't win it this year, they need to blow it up. Do you think they need to if they don't win it this year?
See, and that's I feel like the Knicks front office made a mistake last year. You
Well,
fired Tom
that
Thibodeau
was yeah.
after going to the Eastern Conference Finals. So, I mean, your next coach, it would seem like the expectations is to at least get to the finals in the next year or two. So that that was really a questionable thought that I had last year when the Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau after you finally get to a conference final. So I didn't love that, and now it's seeming like the Mike Brown era. It hasn't started off the exactly the way you want it. So yeah, I don't know what that Knicks front office does if you don't make a deep run this year. So yeah,
Well,
I'm
and
not sure.
the other funny thing about the front office and firing Thibodeau is the team he lost to the last 2 years, best player ain't playing and ain't going to be a problem in your playoffs this year. The Pacers knocked
Exactly.
them
Yeah.
out 2 years in a row because I'm not gonna lie, Thibodeau against the Pacers, that was a bad matchup because he don't play a lot of guys. So, I mean, the Pacers pace. They're running up and down the floor for 7 games, and that's why in both series they got beaten, battered, they got injured, and that's why
Yeah.
when they played the Celtics, they're a great matchup for the Celtics because they're long, they can defend the three, and the Celtics play at a slower pace, so they can keep their starters in the game longer, and they don't get tired. So yeah, that was I also didn't understand that decision. So yeah, I think it was one of those situations where it's New York. There's so much pressure, and they felt like, oh, we got to do something, which I don't think
Hmm.
that's the right thing to do or the right something, but they tried
Yeah.
something, and it's not working out now, but not to the playoffs yet, so we ain't gonna speak too early on that hire. But that's that for that game. I thought there was a lot of storylines coming out of that game, so I thought we'd talk about that. Next, we're gonna rank this upcoming draft class where we think they go next year in the draft. And I'll start. I think the draft class goes number 10, Kobe Pete. Pete's a dog. I mean, he's big, he's strong, he's athletic, got great skill, great handle. 9, Wagler. I mean, true freshman. We've seen his skill. Mikael Brown. I think he's going to be electric at the next level. Got athleticism, can shoot it. A cuff. I mean, dog can also do everything. Caleb Wilson at 6. He's got the NBA body. Nate Amin at 5. He also got the NBA body. Both those guys got great skill for their size. Boozer 4. I mean, he's a bruiser. He could shoot the three. Big, strong. 3, Flemings. I mean, that guy's he's cool as a cucumber, cool as the other side of the pillow. 2, the Bonsta. I mean, we know what he is. And then Peterson at number 1. I'm not as worried with those issues. Like, I think he loves basketball. I think he's just got a problem. I think his hamstrings actually hurting him. And what's the best thing for him is to kind of take it slow. So I don't think he don't love basketball. So give me Peterson at 1. What's your draft order?
Yeah, 10, I'm gonna go Cole Pete. 9, Darius Acuff. One of the best guards that Cal has ever had, and he's had a lot of guards that came through Kentucky, Providence, and Arkansas. So I'm gonna go Acuff. 8, Nate Ament. Big, strong, uh, point forward, I should say, that can play really the 1 through 5 or 2 through 5, I would say. So I'm gonna have him at 8. 7, Wagler, also an NBA build, can shoot the three ball, play defense. 6, I'm gonna go Markel Brown, finally coming to his own on the offensive end and also the defensive end for that matter, can get a bucket from anywhere on the court. 5, I'm gonna go Kingston Fleming. Can score at will and defend, which is what you like to see in the NBA at the guard position, especially. 4, I'm gonna go Caleb Wilson. His, I mean, the prototypical NBA body type right there. 3, I'm gonna go Boozer, bulldozer. I mean, in the paint, can defend, can shoot the ball as well. 2, I'm gonna go Darian Peterson, only for the simple fact that he's already started his load management, excuse me, in college already. So, but we know what he can do when he's on the floor and healthy. And then 1, I'm gonna go AJ DeMonsta. Just, I mean, he can score at will. I haven't seen too many players in college score like this guy has. So I'm gonna go 1 AJ.
All righty. Last thing before we head out of here today, we're going to talk about the tanking problem. What are your thoughts on the tanking problem? What are your thoughts on it, and how do you think they can maybe stop it, help it, improve it, make teams not tank?
Yeah, the tanking problem is it's crazy that we have to talk about this and really frankly before the All-Star teams, seeing teams already tank is just a it's a I don't know, it's a disadvantage to the game especially, but just not something you want to see. I know if I was on the floor personally, I don't see how I could go out there and intentionally try to lose a game. That's just not something I was ever taught growing up and something I wouldn't have wanted to be a part of. I don't know what the NBA does. I know they've been Adam Silver and those guys have been talking about ways to get rid of this. I've heard taking picks, and I could see it, but at the same time, it's what you have 60 draft picks. You get anywhere from 1 to 3 usually in each draft. So I think that would be difficult to take picks from teams. We've seen teams get fined recently, Jazz and Pacers being those two teams. Um, I do like the idea that Richard Jefferson, I believe, threw out there saying once a team is already disqualified from the play-in and playoff, then you have a tournament for those teams. So I don't think that would be a terrible idea. But obviously, some teams that need that first pick may be somewhat outmatched with a team that's finishing right outside of the play-in or playoffs. But I mean, if you get those teams to play, maybe you can. I mean, you can really see. You can just see the. But it's kind of hard because. Sorry, I don't even know what I'm trying to say there.
No, it happens.
but
Okay.
but uh but yeah, I wouldn't be mad at a tournament between teams that are outside the play-in. Then you can actually compete. If you want that number one pick, then you can actually play for it. So I'm not mad at that idea.
Well, and see, the one thing I will say about what you said is I don't think it's the players is the problem. Like, I think the players are playing hard. Like the Jazz,
Yeah,
I don't think the Jazz players went up to the coaches and said, "Hey, let's get a better pick next year. Can you take me out of this? Don't put me back into the fourth quarter when we're losing the lead." Like, I think this is strictly a
right.
front office and coaching thing. And I think the biggest thing with the tanking problem is not when it's situations like that, because situations like that, when the Jazz didn't play their players, you should lose a pick. I don't care that you only get 1 to 3 picks. When you basically you crap on the game, you piss on the game when you do stuff like that. Take out your best players and don't put them in the fourth quarter. That's ridiculous. You should absolutely lose a pick. I don't care if you only have 1 to 3.
Yeah,
But the bigger problem is when they players say they're hurt, like say they're hurt with a soft tissue injury. Like if the team says his hamstring hurts, like there's nothing you can do to say. Like if he said he hurt his hamstring, it tightened up on him. There's nothing you can really do to like the doctors can say anything. If he says that, you have to believe it. So like situations like that, because now Washington and all these other guys, they're not doing what the Jazz did that game, which was ridiculous. They're more of just saying the guy's hurt and can't play. So yeah, I'm with the taking picks thing. Like, if you're going to disrespect the game like that, like that's crazy. But then
yeah,
guys say they're hurt, and then I seen Charles Barkley say something, and I like this because this really would get the owners because he said if you're under 500, you can't raise ticket prices, which I love because teams do that now. Teams are raising ticket prices and putting a terrible product out there, raising the ticket prices, like just doing ridiculous stuff, and sometimes you may not lose a ball, but if you're below a certain record or we suspect you of tanking, we're going to take away lottery balls. Like you don't get as many just because you had the worst record because we think like you're tanking and you're purposely losing and disrespecting the game. So I saw Charles Barkley have say a couple things like that, and I was like, I like that because now you're hurting the owner's pockets, and that's all they care.
yeah.
Like owners in a situation like this, they don't care about the game. They're crapping on the game. They don't care about it. They care about making money. And when you mess with their money, that's when you might do something to them. And last thing on this, I'll say, Adam Silver, what do we do? Like 500 grand for like really? You're making them take 500 grand for, like I said, pissing on the game, and
Yeah.
that's all. That's all the owner. That's all the billionaire owner is gonna have to pay is 500 grand. Like that, I think that's the problem. Is I think he didn't give a hefty enough fine or whatever you like. He didn't drop
Up
the
until
hammer hard
Mill.
enough. Yeah, I mean, at least like up the because like if like I said, 500,000 to a billionaire is nothing. Like he don't really care about that. That's a little slap on the wrist. But yeah, I hate the tanking thing. I think it's the worst thing ever. And I think tanking. I think it's hilarious because most teams tank And I think they don't ever come out of that because they don't have good ownership and good management. Because they think that's the best way to win. They don't think finding a guy at 15 is the way to go because they can't draft. The only thing they can draft is the stud 1 or 2 pick. They can't never find a couple good picks or trade for a young guy or an older guy that really helps the team out. So they got to do this. They got to tank and hurt the game. But yeah, I saw a couple of those teams do crazy stuff like that, and it really irked me. But that's it for subjects on the show. Anything else you want to talk about today, Billy?
No, I think that'd be it.
All righty.